Hi everyone, welcome to this video. Today is February 26th, 2025, and I want to talk about what the hell is going on. Um, I haven't done one of these since the beginning of the month. It has been a crazy month, and I really want to talk about what is going on and the messaging that I've been getting from Source consistently over and over and over and over again. That I have actually woken up in the middle of the night, heard you need to do a video now, and I was just like, no, not happening. But here it is now because it's still playing in the background. My name is Tammy Reger. I am a higher self alchemist, energy healer, author, and speaker. I help you understand the stories that you are telling yourself that are preventing you from having the greatness that you know you can have and desire. There have been three songs that have been playing in my head for a week now. Okay, and they intermingle each other. They don't, it's like they've become their own song. But the predominant one that I hear is We Are the World. Now, this is a song that was done with a conjunction of, I don't know how many different musicians in the 80s for a charity benefit for feeding the children in Ethiopia. But the song is super inspirational and connected to the energy that we're currently in. We are in an energy of death. We are in the dying of the old, and we cannot see what the new looks like. And right now, the new might look really scary. But I will tell you that what we're being shown right now out there isn't even it. There's something far more beautiful coming beyond it. But there's so much chaos, there's so much change, there's so much gaslighting. There's so much just ick out there that it's hard to see through the smoke screens that are being projected at us constantly, by the way, by design, so that we do not focus on what we're actually wanting to create. Instead, we're focusing on the chaos that they are creating. And as manifestors, as creators of our reality, we are not supposed to focus on everyone else's stories or their creations unless we want that to be real in our reality. Their stories that they're telling us through this chaos is their reality. There is not one timeline and there's not one reality. We all have similar but slightly different ones so that we can have similar situations and experiences, but yet we all have our own individual experience. Nobody feels it like you do. Nobody thinks like you do. Might be similar, but for the most part, we all are individuals. And for millions of years, we have allowed those people or beings outside of us to tell us what story we should believe in. And those stories have only limited us through space and time. They've prevented us from being able to access that greatness that we all are. We are all part of Source. We all have the ability to have that greatness in our own way, in our own life. The stories about what we could accomplish and what we couldn't accomplish, the roles of a man versus a woman, gender. Those are all stories that we have been told through time to actually limit us so that we can't see the beauty in it that Source designed us to see. And for these millions of years, going back to Atlantis, we have been so focused on what's going on outside of us that we have manifested it into our reality, making their creations that we don't want into ours so that we have to suffer the consequences of what they're creating. And I'm going to tell you now that that stops. That's the whole thing with 2025. It isn't just the endings that were being shown, it's the ending of that story within us. We're being asked if we still want to continue that story where we create our reality based on what society, governments, corporations, billionaires tell us our reality is. That's their reality, and they want that reality to be true because then that gives them power. But when we remember that it's our power because we do not have to agree to that, and then we don't create it part of our reality, we don't experience it. We don't become part of that collective that then stuck in this. And there's another name for this actually called pendulums, and I may do another video on this. to understand how this all works, okay? But you are being asked right now, do you want to continue to make more stories or more experiences in your life of suffering and all this stuff because you are allowing yourself to believe the illusions that people are telling you outside of yourself about their stories in their life and what they want that is true for you? You get to decide, choose whether you want to experience that or not. You could have more success this year than you could ever imagine in whatever way you want because you create that story. And this is what I help my clients with and understanding those stories and getting them out of your brain so that your brain doesn't get stuck in these mental loops because it's been trained to believe that the outside world is realer than your reality. And that's just not true. That's not how we were created. So these songs play in my head all the time because we have forgotten that we are the world. We the people. We the people does not start in Washington. Starts with you and me understanding what that means for each of us and doing the healing work so that we manifest and create that reality of we the people. Yes, the Constitution and all the things the founding fathers did help craft that version so that we could potentially have a society that embraced that. Didn't quite go as planned, I will tell you. And I'm not just talking about what's happening now. I'm talking about everything that's happened in the 250 years it has been in existence. But we agreed to be part of this experiment called the U.S. And we believed that we the people was outside of us. And it's not, it's within us. When I hear we are the world, I know that they're telling me that we are the people. And I probably still have work to do on this idea that we are the people is the only way, that we are the power behind our experiences in life. And that version of reality starts with us, no one else. When you can embody the energy of we the people, you will start to see that in your reality. Because you only can attract like focused like. But if you believe that we the people starts in Washington or at your local state government or wherever country you're in, then you're waiting for someone else to make it real for you and going into all the stories that they have created about why you can't have that. And in 2025, we're remembering that it actually starts with us and it's our stories that are preventing us from having it. There's no one trying to take it away from us. We have chosen whether we like it or not. And there's some things that our soul wants to experience is that we think, what, why? That have led to all of this. And we have to heal those things and know that you might have things with the founding fathers or even founding mothers. Those aren't talked about, but there were founding mothers, colonial America or Civil War, wherever it is. It could be in Atlantis or ancient Egypt, but you got to clear that stuff because we, the people, existed before Atlantis. That is how society worked, and it's only through our choices, our focus, our believing that the outside reality is realer than our inside reality and letting that dictate what our inner reality can manifest or not, that we've gotten here. And the only way to change that is by each of us individually changing the stories and the wounds within ourselves so that we can remember we the people and what that energy really is. There is no separation. It's only through stories that the patriarchy and society have gotten this idea that genders and races and cultures and religions separate us. They don't. They're just that higher self's choice to experience that in this life for whatever soul growth they're going into. And it's not for us to judge. That's their story. And I truly believe that part of their being here, people who are different than you, is to learn compassion, to be able to accept them for who they are. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It doesn't mean you have to become like them. You just say, oh, you and Source had a deal and that's how you want to be. That's fine. You don't even have to be their friends. But it's about kindness and compassion and seeing the value in them because Source created them too. and even know that your reaction to them is actually something inside of yourself, a story that you have either about them or about yourself that's actually getting them to mirror it back to you. And we have a tendency to take it out on those people, but really it's about us. It's about each of us individually dealing with this. We only see it in our reality because we have that programming, experiences, thought forms, and stories, emotional triggers inside of us that keep attracting those same people. You could have, let's say, I don't know, let's say you have a wound inside of yourself who you believe that people outside of you are taking things from you or preventing you from having, let's say, more money. Well, you could remove those people and you will just manifest someone else will take that place. Sorry. Gigs up because they're not the reason why you feel that way. It's inside of you. And the only way that you're going to, one, maybe stop attracting those experiences or to feel at peace with is for you to do the work within yourself. We've grown up as a society that we blame other people for our own struggles. It's us. It's us individually have created this. And only when we start to come to terms with that will we start to see this new reality that wants to be birthed, is literally waiting in the wings for us to freaking open our eyes. And some of us are actually already there because we've done it. But you can't get there if you're not willing to see that this is your crap. And the reason why you believe that people are trying to take money from you, or that the biggest one I hear all the time is they keep secrets from us from Atlantis or ancient Egypt. That's a story. And by you believing that, you're giving them the power, but really the power is inside of you. Those secrets and all of that knowledge that you've gotten in other lifetimes is in your DNA. All you have to do is change the story so you can access it. And bang, it's there. You start to have dreams about it. You'll start to see the synchronicities. It will just start happening. Those are all just stories that limit you and me. I'm going through this too. This is why, I hear these things and then, I share with you all of what I'm being shown. And I might feel a little bolder today because my feminine wants me to say it all. But that's part of it. We have been through cultures where women have been ostracized for speaking out. The stories. And I'm limiting myself and my ability to manifest and create because I won't say it. Like I'm just over it. I'm just done. And it feels so good. And that's the point. Like when you start to do this work and you start to realize that it really was you all along, that you have control over it, and you start to see the results, you're gonna be excited. It's like, oh, I am driving the bus. No one else has been driving the bus the whole time. You just think there is. There's been some imaginary person driving your bus. And it doesn't mean that you don't have wounds and don't have trauma and you don't have beliefs. You do. We all do. We have skeletons in the closet. And I will tell you, working through past lives, we have more skeletons than you probably care to know about. But some of those are big hindrances us in being able to be the best version of ourselves. And 2025 is about ditching your old self, creating a new self, but also ditching the old reality and creating new reality. But you can't do that if you're not being honest with yourself. Otherwise, you'll just move those things that trigger you into this new reality, or you may not move at all. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. It's your choice as to whether you do or not. My higher self has said to me, if you don't clear this, you're not going, which is not an option for me. Like, I am over this. I want the next level, right? So you get to make that choice. But you can't bring your baggage into the new. It's a frequency you just can't get there because you're being asked to look at the layers, and there's no rush to get there. If you don't make it in 2025, you'll get it through 2026. You'll be there when you're supposed to be there. Okay. If you're first wave like me, we're being pushed, like big time pushed. So and there's that. So where are you not owning your power? Where are you placing blame on others for the reason why your life sucks? Or why you can't have money or clients or success in your business, partnership, whatever it is. Because all of that is because of you. There's something inside of you that needs to be healed so you can attract something different. I'm not saying that crap doesn't happen to people, it totally does. But the after effect of that and the lingering trauma of that experiences can then create more problems. So if you actually healed it, you'd be able to move past it instead of just replaying those stories over and over again of whether unworthiness or powerlessness or fear. That's not what we're being asked to do. And all emotions have value. I'm not talking about high vibing it and ignoring it. That's complete BS because you can't fake emotions. The universe knows. And bottom, those lower frequency emotions are signs for you to see where you're out of alignment or where you have wounding or where you're not being honest with yourself. And you change that by changing you. You change your inner stories. You change your beliefs. You change the thought forms or you get rid of them altogether so that you don't even see those stories in your life anymore. There's lots of stories that we're being asked to face right now, and they are happening a lot in, let's say, the national state of the U.S. And we can look at that and be like, and believe me, I have been there. And you will grief. You'll have grief and loss. This is losing. This is about letting go of the old. But there's also things and stories that you can find in that you're like, oh, I didn't know I had this story that I was telling myself, and you can change it. What you actually see on the outside world is actually not, I'll explain this. It's not that it's an illusion, but it is based on the momentum of your thoughts from previous days. So your thoughts today create tomorrow. What you see out there today was from yesterday. And it's also a momentum thing. This kind of has to do with the pendulum. If you are trying to change your frequency around something or your emotion around something, and you've had a lot of momentum in this pendulum, it may not change overnight. It will take time for it to find that middle ground. But we fall into traps because then our world doesn't change outside of ourselves and we think it didn't work. It's just that it hasn't come to fruition yet. And a lot of our manifestations actually exist in the ether until all the stars align, if you will. But we use our physical senses to look for it. And when we don't see it, we think that, oh, I'm not going to get it. And then we just talk ourselves out of our manifestations. All this power is within you. There's nothing inside of you. There's nobody outside of you that has more power than you do. Zilch. It's just a reflection. The version of reality you see is just a reflection of who you are and believe the world to be within you. So we're being asked to look at that stuff, to use this turmoil that we're in right now and be like, okay, where am I triggered? Because where you're triggered is where your stuff is. It's not to like stuff it down. You know, in society in the US, we've been taught to internalize anger, internalize shame and guilt and even powerlessness. And many of us don't know how to deal with it. We just kind of shove it under the rug and don't deal with it. It just sits and festers forever. And then you start just manifesting more of it that you have to shove under the rug. That has to end now. If you want that new earth, if you want that new reality that I keep having these songs, and I'll explain what the other two in a moment, then you need to do the work so that you're no longer attached to all of those stories that created your old reality and old self. So you can make room for your new stories and new self, new self and new reality. And many of you might be like, oh, like that's a lot, but you get to choose whether it's easy or not. And make sure that you're choosing that it's easy. It's easy for me to realize and see the stories, limiting beliefs, thought forms, emotional triggers that are preventing me from letting go of the old self and old reality and preventing me from rolling into that new script. Okay? And it's going to take you to look at some things that are not pretty. I will tell you after, working with myself and working with many clients for 10 years, the stuff that's coming up for clients now is the deepest, crappiest, ugliest ick that I have ever seen. And let me tell you, I have seen some crap come up for people because this is your identity. These are the things that you've been hiding from yourself because it's too painful to see. So know that that is part of this. And it may feel like it is impossible to get to. And believe me, I have been there. But I know that if I don't, I'm just going to repeat the same cycle and I'm not going to be able to get to that new reality. And I know that the answers that I want is in that new one. And the other thing that happens when we don't go from the old self to old reality to new fast or quick is we extend this death cycle. And this death cycle is all the chaos that's currently happening either in the US or all around the world. It's only because we haven't, or each of us individually, if you're still seeing that, work through the things that allow us to get to that new. It all is inside of us. There's nothing that isn't. Yes, I can help you see them, start to craft your tool set, craft your ability to see this stuff for yourself and all of those things. I totally can help you, and I would love to help you with that. But if, let's say you have one session once a month or once a week, you still have to be able to do this stuff in between. I'll help you, but like you got to become aware of it. You can't ignore it. Write it down. Because it's important. I do hope to do some guided meditations in the next, I don't know, week or two that can kind of help with some of this stuff and unraveling the stories of this. So look forward to that. If you want that, please like and subscribe to this channel and like this video so that more people get a hold of it, but also you'll be alerted to when I start to post those. So constantly I hear we are the world. And either we are the world, we are the children, so it's time to start giving. I heard that for a long time, but it's switched to there comes a time when we must heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. It's just we the people. It's the same thing. And when we unite together energetically, spiritually, through our minds, through our hearts, this world starts to come to fruition. And they, of course, aren't showing me what it looks like because I'm going to go through this just like all of you. I can feel the lightness of it, the beauty. I can see it or feel it really. Like I can feel it. And it's literally within like inches, but it's only because me or maybe you or whatever, for me, for my reality, right? I haven't quite gotten all the things yet, but I'm gonna get them. I know I will. I love this stuff. Little Sherlock Holmes. The other two, and I think this is why I have this feeling that there is something more beautiful after this. And that's because of the other two songs. First of all, before I go there, because they're interrupting, We Are the World. I don't remember how many musicians it was. Most of them have passed. I was trying to think of the ones that are in the videos on YouTube who haven't. And the only ones that I could come up with was Lionel Richie and Cyndi Lauper. I think the rest of them have passed. There might be another one or two, but for the most of them, they have passed on. They are here trying to help us remember this because they know it's a key and they know that song is a key. Take the time to listen to that song. Close your eyes and really feel it. You will feel your heart open and remembering something about yourself that you've forgotten. I cry listening to this because I know that this is important. I also have someone else who's been around. So this is Whitney Houston. Her song constantly playing When You Believe. And the lyrics, when you believe, somehow you will, when you believe. Take a listen to that song. We must believe. We you People can only take away your manifestations of what you believe you can have if you believe they can. And that's a story. Change that. Because when we believe in this greater vision of new earth and peace and we the people and balance and equality in the way it was supposed to be, we create that. It's just that we have to work through the pieces that prevent us from fully aligning to that, and then it just happens. You don't have to do anything else. It's just you like tuning yourself to get there. And then the third song is Ashes by Celine Dion, which is from, I think, Deadpool 2. And the lyrics I hear constantly is let the beauty rise from the ashes. We're in a death. We're, in the creation of new, there's always a death cycle. You don't get new unless something, you let go of something. So that's an idea of death, right? But the version of the world that many of us have grown up in and have been in many lifetimes has been patriarchal. And this new earth version that doesn't exist. So that means that we have to go through the dying of the old. But that doesn't just mean that we just watch it on TV like a movie playing. Instead, we look at, okay, what stories, beliefs, thought forms, or healing do I need to do within myself so that I'm aligning to that new reality? And it will come quicker. Like, if the quicker you get there, the shorter the death cycle. And it's going to be different lengths for everyone. There isn't like a set thing. So you know, again, no jockeying permission. There's no, oh, I need to get there first. It's none of that. That's not this at all. So what are you still holding on to? They've done a lot of attacks around money, and that's by design. Um, but it's also because of all the things that I have to think about that humans have the most stories about that limit us, it's about money. And source is the supplier of money. And when we start to realize that, we realize that there's no one who can ever get in the way of us having what we're supposed to. Because no one gets to make that decree unless you believe that you have it. So, and that's also money is in the root chakra, which is about safety, which is also another, and the same thing that happened in the pandemic. So make sure that one of the things you're looking at is your money stories. I am creating a new school community. It is currently still in develop. I'm hoping that I can start inviting people to it this week. It will probably be free for the first 30 days for me to just figure some stuff out, and then it'll become paid. But one of the things in there is I'm going to do a money masterclass and getting rid of these stories so that you can have an empowering story about money instead of the same old that we've had since Atlantis. Get rid of class systems, imbalance in money, opportunity, all the things. Just goodbye. Spending. Savings has stories around it too. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you could drop them below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If not, I will see you on the next video and have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.